out Dutch, but I've just managed to spill my entire drink on the floor. So that's fantastic. Hello everybody, welcome to part 1 of the Not So Mini build. The name will be apparent by the end of the video when I explain my plans for this thing, but honestly I was going to shout out Dutch, keeping me energized, but I just spilled the whole thing on the floor, so never mind. Today we are installing $180 eBay headers. So the brand is Manzo. I'm pretty excited for this. The car's been pretty quiet. It has an aftermarket exhaust I got with the car. I don't know what brand it is, but the tip of the exhaust is an oval, so take that as you will. Sounds pretty good, but I want it to be a little bit louder, having no cat restriction, and just crackling a lot. So that's what I really wanted out of these headers, and we're gonna get started on installing them today. So obviously, first thing you do is jack up the car. Make sure you get it nice and high, especially in the front, because when you're trying to squeeze the old headers out and put the new ones in, you need a lot of space to kind of finagle the headers in. So make sure you get the car as high as possible. When I was underneath and trying to get the headers out, I had to jack up the car higher, so make sure you just do that in the first place. It'll save you some time. So I have a strut bar in the front on the engine bay, so I had to remove that, make some space so I can reach behind and undo the bolts. But before you do that, you probably want to disconnect the O2 sensors. There's 2 of them, one on the actual downpipe and one after the cat, I believe. So instead of having to take out the O2 sensors in the car, because mine were a bit stuck, there's 2 clips. For the lower one, it's pretty much right next to it. You can kind of just trace the wire back and you can see the clip. And the second O2 sensor, the clip is in the engine bay. So if you kind of look through and trace the wire up, it's a beige white kind of wires. I think the only one in there. You can trace that out, find the clip, take it out. Once you have the O2 sensors removed, you can move to behind the engine. There's 8 bolts holding the header in. Should be able to kind of feel around for them and take them out with a 10mm bolt. Socket. Once you get this done, you can go underneath the car and get the 2 bolts that connect the headers to the cab pack. I believe these are 16. But I may be wrong, so don't quote me on it. But once you get those down, it's pretty much just drop the headers out. So it's a bit of a squeeze to kind of pull them through the sway bar and the firewall. But if you keep the headers to the passenger side and squeeze them out, I believe it's the passenger side, it could be the driver's side, but you can see in the video which side kind of pull to one and grab it out. So that's a bit of a pain, but it's not as bad as putting the new headers in. So the next step is putting the new ones in, and before you do that, to clear a little bit more space, you can take off a little bit of heat shielding. There's 3 bolts for that. It's 2 10mm and an 8mm. Once you get that heat shielding removed, there's a little bit of a bump on one of the other heat shieldings, and you can just hammer that in to create just a little bit more room. So once you've got that all cleared up, you can squeeze the new headers in, It's a bit of a pain, and you got to be careful of these two. I'm not sure what lines they are. I feel like they're AC lines. That's what they look like. But they're actually held in by two grommets towards the cat back, and you can kind of unclip them out of there. Just make sure you clip them back in, because I forgot to do that and had to lift the car back up to pop those back in place. But if you pull those out and squish them to the side, you should have enough space to squeeze your headers in. So I mean, I was trying for a good 20 minutes and couldn't get them in, and then my roommate Noah actually came in and just, by the time I got out from under the car and went to look at the top, he already had it in. So I don't know how he did that, but I guess he's the finagle master. So if you need anything, ask him. But once you get the headers in and mostly lined up, you get your gasket, line it up, and it's a bit of a pain, but you gotta thread the bolts in and go through the headers, through the gasket, into the engine block. So I had Noah, once again, help me out and hold the headers up. But if you don't have any friends, one, I'm sorry, and two, you can always use a jack. So, I mean, I have two jacks, so I have two friends. But once you get that lined up and you get it all bolted into place, you can move to the bottom and put in the mid pipe and bolt it up. Pretty self-explanatory, not very difficult to do that part. So the only real problem I had with these headers were that they were a bit of a pain to fit in. And then also, which was a little bit weird, I'll show you the comparison from the old and the new headers right now. And you can see that the O2 sensor on the stock headers is closer towards the engine bay than on the aftermarket ones. So your front O2 sensor will not reach its designated hole, which is kind of shitty. So either you have to extend your O2 sensor wires, or you can do what I did and just not attach it. I don't recommend not attaching it, because then your car is not really going to know how much airflow you have, and you're not going to be able to get proper fuel. The computer's going to just dump max fuel, which is cool for backfires and spitting flames, but not so cool for fuel efficiency and the health of your motor. So I don't necessarily, I'm not going to tell you to do that, but I'm not going to tell you not to do that if you want to spit some flames or something. But the reason, actually, for me, I really like these headers. When I'll show you a before and after installation sound test right here. And I've been driving this around. I'm not sure if I'm going to get any clips of driving. I might do that today. But if I do, I'll insert that right now. I really like the way these sound. They sound pretty good. They give you a lot of crackles. It definitely makes it way louder. Overall, seems pretty good. I think my throttle response is slightly delayed now that I don't have the front O2 sensor, so take that as you will. The reason I don't really care about this engine is because I'm going to all-wheel drive swap it. So I love the way this little footprint of this car is it's super fun to drive, but I'm not a fan of front wheel drive. And so I'm going to take the drivetrain of the Nissan Pulsar. For any of you who don't know what that is, it's a car, little hatchback that was made only in Japanese and European markets, and it's all-wheel drive with an SR20 turbo. So that'll fit right in here, and it'll be all-wheel drive. Should be pretty sick, but that's not it. We are gonna lift it and do long travel suspension and turn it into an off-road all-wheel drive Mini. So I was scouring the internet when I was bored, and I found this. So this is Pepe the Mini. Pretty sweet. I love the way it looks, but I think I'm gonna go for a little bit more height, because the only lift kit they make for Minis is just a 2-inch little body spacer that you put on top of your suspension as a little spacer. And if I'm running coilovers, it's just going to make it extremely stiff. So since my 2 roommates, Jacob and Noah, work for off-roading companies, we're going to make custom control arms, we're going to do long travel suspension, and we're going to make this thing look amazing. So that's why when I was installing headers right now, I left the O2 sensor disconnected, because if this engine blows up, then that's fine. So it is my daily, so hopefully it doesn't blow up soon, but if it does, then that just pushes up my plans. Sorry to interrupt, well, myself, but it's been a week. I'm currently editing this video about a week later, and plans have already been changed from doing a Nissan Pulsar drivetrain. As cool as having an SR would be in a Mini, it's just too hard to find these cars. They're only from Japan, they're pretty rare, and they're gonna cost you about 10 grand. So unless someone in the comments has an SR20 they're willing to give away, well, not give away, I mean obviously I'll pay for you for it, but for relatively cheap, if it's like crashed or something, I'll take it. But currently I'm thinking of using an Audi TT drivetrain from 2001. So as you can see here, they look terrible. I hate the way these cars look, honestly, but they have a great drivetrain. They're all-wheel drive if you get the Quattro version, and a lot of people have done the 5-cylinder swaps from a Jetta or a Beetle, and it made straight up to the transmission of the Audi TT. So I'm thinking all-wheel drive Audi TT drivetrain with a 5-cylinder and a turbo added on there. So that's going to be full rally car style, throwing back to the Audi Quattros, which are rally monsters, and that's kind of where I want this Mini Cooper to be. It's not going to be crazy like pre-runner or rock crawling or anything. It's mostly for, you know, dirt trails and snow driving. So this is trying to be my snowboarder commuter car. So if I'm taking it up to the mountains and there's a bunch of snow on the floor, I'm gonna rip the Hydro e-brake and, you know, swing it around a corner. That sounds like fun to me, and that's what I'm really intending this Mini to be. So anyway, just thought I'd update you on that, and back to our regular scheduled programming. If you guys want to see that and you want to see it soon, I've made a website where you can go and purchase some clothing. I designed all the logos myself. They're hand drawn, and I think they're pretty sweet. It's not super car related, so you don't really need to be into cars to like these shirts, and the link is in the description. It's called Finite Co. Go check it out if you want to support the builds, support the Mini, support the Miata. And obviously when I change this to off-road, I'm going to need a new daily. So that's a mystery at the moment. I know what car I want, but I'm not going to tell you guys yet. So we'll see if we can make this happen. If you want to support, now's the time. I'm pretty broke and I could really use the help to make these cool builds come true. So if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. I hope I helped you out. I noticed a lot of these videos on Mini Cooper header installation were pretty trash on the internet, so I decided to make one of my own because I had a lot of problems fitting the headers up. But if you remove the heat shield and really use a hammer to dent it in, you should be alright. Again, you gotta be the finagle master, so clearly I am not. Shout out Noah. If you liked the video, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, whatever. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.